Guys, we made it. It's the final weekend of Championship action. Let's jump into it. Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Really excited to see what you guys are predicting for this weekend's results. Obviously, all the implications are at the bottom of the Championship. All the stuff towards the top has now been sorted out, apart from the playoffs, which will be getting underway after this game week. But it's going to be such an intense one, isn't it? This is how the main prediction league is looking heading into the final weekend. Obviously, we had the one game going on in midweek, and it's Mohamed A who has slipped into first place. This is how the League One prediction league is looking heading into the final weekend of action. And then this is how the League Two league is also looking. Do leave your score predictions down below and get yourself onto that leaderboard for the final weekend. But without any further ado, let's jump into this one. So obviously all the games are 12:30 kickoffs on Saturday. Starting it out at Oakwell, we got Barnsley going up against Norwich. Now Barnsley still have something to play for in terms of them wanting to get the highest possible finish to get the theoretically easier playoff tie. What looks more than likely though at this point in time is it's probably going to be Brentford against Barnsley and then Swansea against Bournemouth. Obviously that could change on the final day, but all Bournemouth need to do is match Barnsley's result on the final day to stay above them in the table. They do have the far superior goal difference. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Barnsley had a bit of an off day last time round against North End. I'm interested to see if they do rest some key players with the playoffs in mind going into this one. And Norwich were just absolutely brilliant last time against Reading, weren't they? You know, they could have had even more goals, the amount of chances they created in that game. And I have the feeling that, you know, now the pressure is really off Norwich, now that, you know, promotion's been confirmed and that sort of thing, they'll just be happy to go out and play their game. I anticipate this one to be quite a good open game of football actually. And for a score prediction, I think I may edge towards Norwich. You know, I think that Barnsley may rest a couple of key players with the playoffs in mind. Norwich obviously will go probably antagonisingly close to that 100-point mark. They'll finish on 99 if they win this one. And I'm going to back them to win this one. I'm going to go 2-1 Norwich in this game. With Thief saying it'll be 2-0 Norwich. Next up we then got Blackburn going up against Birmingham. A tough game to predict without seeing the Birmingham lineup going into this one. From what I've read, it seems as if Lee Bowyer's probably going to pick another sort of experimental side going into this game. Obviously, last time round they made wholesale changes in that game against Cardiff, brought in quite a few youngsters in the end. You know, Cardiff played them off the park, but Lee Bowyer got the opportunity to see some of those players who he's not seen much of in game action so far this season. If Birmingham do go along with a similar sort of game plan for this one, that probably do see Blackburn having quite a bit of joy moving forward. You know, they've been in decent goal scoring form at Ewood Park recently. They obviously put 5 goals past Huddersfield the other week. So for a score prediction in this one, if Birmingham go with a full strength lineup, I think they may even get all 3 points, but if they make the complete changes that we're probably expecting them to, I'm going to go 3-1 Blackburn in this game. I just think that Blackburn's forward line against an inexperienced Birmingham side may have a bit of a field day. FIFA's going 2-0 Blackburn. Next then we go to Bournemouth up against Stoke. Obviously Bournemouth still playing for the playoff sort of tie that they want to get to finish above Barnsley this season. All they need to do is match their result on the final day of the season, with them having the superior goal difference. And it's a decent tie for the final day, to be honest with you. Stoke have been a side whose season really has flattened out as the year has gone on. They're guaranteed to have a bottom half finish, which I think is quite a disappointing one given how promising Stoke's start to the season actually was. Bournemouth have lost their last couple of matches. I think they'll probably be wanting to avoid Brentford in the playoffs actually. I think that Bournemouth will probably be quite happy with the tie against Swansea if that is to be the case. But yeah, for this game I think I'm going to back Bournemouth. They made quite a few changes in that game against Wycombe, but Stoke, I just don't really see a lot from at the moment. Nick Powell obviously picked up an injury in their last game against QPR. So for a score prediction in this one, I'm going to go 2-0 Bournemouth, with Thief going 1-0 Stoke. Next up we then got Bristol City going up against Brentford. Now Bristol City can find themselves quite lucky actually that they're not involved in this relegation scrap on the final day, given how poor they've been in the second half of the season. You know, they've sort of been relying on the points they recruited in the first half of the season. But yeah, for Brentford, they're guaranteed to finish third, so I'd expect them to make quite a few changes probably coming into this game. Having said that, you'd still probably back like a Brentford B team to be beating this Bristol City side at the moment, wouldn't you? I think wholesale changes are around the corner for Bristol City, and Nigel Pearson's got a lot of work to do there over the summer, I think it's fair to say. But yeah, with Brentford having that third place secured now, we're probably going to see quite an experimental side from them. Some of their key players rested in preparation for that playoff date. So for a score prediction in this one, I do still fancy Brentford, to be honest with you, even if they do make quite a few changes. I'm going to go 2-0 Brentford, with Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Brentford. Coming up next, we've then got actually one of the meaningful games going on in the Championship this weekend. It's Cardiff going up against Rotherham, with this relegation battle going right down to the wire. Now, from a Rotherham perspective, this isn't the ideal fixture to have on the last day of the season where they need 3 points, you know. Anything but a win and Rotherham will be relegated. Even if they do win this match, if Derby also win, Rotherham will still be relegated. So 3 points is a must in this one to give themselves any sort of a fighting chance. Now, obviously they had that goalless draw in midweek. A win there really would have done them the world of good. They would have had it in their own hands had they won that match, but in the end it finished as a goalless draw. And goals on the road have been a problem for this Rotherham side lately. They've actually failed to score in any of their last 5 away matches, and with how tight Cardiff have been recently, they're 5 games unbeaten in the Championship. They were prolific in their last game against Birmingham. You know, Harry Wilson was absolutely fantastic. The amount of set pieces that they'll score from, and where that's been a bit of a vulnerability for Rotherham defending at times. It's a big ask, I think, for Rotherham to win here, but in a one-off game where, you know, theoretically Cardiff still have nothing to play for, anything in the Championship could happen. Having said that, if I had to make the score prediction, which I do for this video, I'm not sure I see Rotherham winning this one. I'm going to go 2-1 Cardiff in this game. FIFA's going 2-0 Cardiff, and obviously the implication of that would be Rotherham relegated. It just feels as if they've run out of steam towards the end of the season. If they can pull something out the bag, it's now or never for them, but I think it's going to be quite an uphill battle. Coventry up against Millwall next up. Millwall did get back to winning ways last time round up against a dismal Bristol City side, but nevertheless they took their chances going forward and probably could have had even more goals in that one, to be honest with you. They had an absolute field day. Coventry obviously done well to guarantee survival before the final day of the season, and this game really could go either way, to be honest with you. It depends how much either side wants it. Millwall maybe having that bit more Championship know-how about them. I'm slightly edging towards them in this game, but these final matches on the final day of the season, you often get a few sort of topsy-turvy results going all over the place. I just hope we get some entertaining games to talk about on the Championship roundup that aren't just the ones that obviously have the implications on going into the final day of the season. So, score prediction in this one, I'm going to back Millwall for it. Why not? I'm going to go 2-0 Millwall. Whereas FIFA's going 1-0 Millwall. Coming up next, it is the big game of the weekend though. It's Derby going up against Sheffield Wednesday, and I'm fascinated to see which way you guys are going for this one. Now, I put a poll out on the community tab the other week. It got over 3,000 votes asking you guys who you think is the favourite to avoid relegation. Derby came in with 45% of the votes, so that is who you guys, the majority of you, are backing to survive at this point in time. Rotherham came back with 31% of the votes, and Sheffield Wednesday came back with 24% of the votes. Now, Derby are mathematically in the best position going into this weekend because a win would guarantee them survival. No other side can say that, you know. If Rotherham win, they could still be relegated. If Sheffield Wednesday win, they could still be relegated. Derby, it's the only scenario where if they win, survival is guaranteed. Having said that, do I see them winning this game? I'm really not so sure, you know. I think that lately, since the introduction of Darren Moore in at Sheffield Wednesday, I know they've been so up and down, but we've seen more positives from this Wednesday side recently than we have from Derby, who have been in absolute free fall. And, you know, make no mistake about it, they're not outside the relegation zone currently because of their own doing. They're only there because the teams below them have failed to capitalise. They've been such a poor watch over these last few weeks. The sort of situation that I can envisage seeing at this point in time is if Rotherham are in a situation where they're losing the game in the second half and Derby sort of have the information in their heads that a draw is enough to keep them up, then I could see this game potentially ending level and a point resultingly being enough to keep Derby up because Rotherham have lost, obviously. That's a very dangerous game to play because, you know, 1 or 2 goals for Rotherham could completely change the scenario. But for a score prediction in this one, I'm just not confident in either team winning. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, and with my other prediction being Rotherham to lose this weekend, that point would be enough to keep Derby in the Championship. I'm really excited to see what you guys are saying though. It's going to be such an intense one. I'm saying a 1-1 draw. FIFA's going 2-0 Sheffield Wednesday. it's going to be interesting nonetheless, isn't it? Next up then, and to the last game, which theoretically does still have something on the line in terms of something to play for. It's Middlesbrough going up against Wycombe. Wycombe, to be fair to them, I think they need to be given credit for reaching 40 points in the Championship this season with the sort of budget and limitations that Gareth Ainsworth has been working for. For survival still to be a possibility on the final day, albeit maybe a bit of a far-stretched one. I think they deserve a lot of admiration for that. They've not gone down with a whimper like a lot of people thought they might, you know, myself included at times at the start of the season. And it probably was that slow start to the season which has ended up costing them, because recently they've been a really competitive side in the Championship. Middlesbrough is obviously going to be a tough game for this one. If Wycombe were to survive, they'd need all the results to go their way. So they'd need Sheffield Wednesday to beat Derby by 1-0. They'd need Rotherham to lose, and I think they'd need to win this game 13-0 for the goal difference swing, and then for them to avoid relegation. So yeah, Wycombe, they're not going to go down without a fight in this one. But realistically, it's probably going to be the end for them. But it's been some journey to say the least, and I do hope we get Wycombe back in the Championship sooner rather than later. You know, we've not had a chance to see their sort of like fans going away and stuff like that. So I do wish them all the best for the future. Score prediction in this one, I'm going to go 2-1 Middlesbrough, with Thief going 1-0 Middlesbrough. Next up then, we go to the City Ground. We got Forest going up against Preston. Two sides who looked in a little bit of jeopardy at parts of the season, like they could be really dragged into a relegation battle, but ultimately both sides have managed to salvage it and will be in the Championship for another season. Forest have been drawing a lot of football matches recently. They're without a win in their last 5, but they've drawn 4 out of those last 5 matches. A draw in this game wouldn't particularly surprise me. Nothing usually putting a decent sort of showing away at the City Ground. We've had some decent away days over the years there, and obviously Preston still wanting to perform and put in the performance for Frankie McAvoy, for sort of his name to be in the running for the Preston job on a permanent basis going into next season. Thought it was a good showing by Preston last time round as well, against a good Barnsley side, and in general under Frankie McAvoy we've been a tough nut to crack recently. So yeah, I don't think there'll be all too much in this game. Either a 1-goal winner either way, or it probably will be heading towards a draw. I'm going to go that way. I'm going to go for a 1-1 in this game, with Thief going 1-0 Preston. Next up then, we go to QPR up against Luton. Two sides who I think have had respectably good seasons actually. Certainly an improvement on last time round. Luton obviously mid-table all season, which is a real testament to them. They'll be looking to go one step further than that next season and continue this progression under Nathan Jones. QPR were a bit of an odd one to call at the start of the season, to be honest with you. They always are seemingly in a bit of disarray in the summer, but seemingly seem to sort themselves out as the season's gone on. And January onwards, the amount of football matches they've actually won has been staggering. If they do keep this group of players together going into next season, who knows what's possible for them. They're in good form as well. They've won 4 out of their last 6 matches. Having said that, Luton are scoring a fair few goals on the road at the moment. They've scored 6 goals in their last 2 away matches. Obviously, Luton's last game was that goalless draw they had in midweek against Rotherham at home. For a score prediction in this one, I'm just going to edge towards QPR. I'm going to go 2-1 QPR, with Thief going for a 1-1 draw. Next up then, we got Reading going up against Huddersfield. Huddersfield fans will be very, very thankful that they were able to confirm their safety the other week and that they're not involved in this drama on the final day of the season. At some points in the year, it looked like they were destined for League One, but no, they have managed to pull it out of the bag and have got enough points on the board. Final day of the season for Reading, obviously ultimately ending in a bit of disappointment that they have missed out on the top 6, but nevertheless, it has been a much stronger campaign than their previous few when they've been sitting in and around the lower half of the table. This could also be the final time that Reading fans get to see Michael Elise in a Reading shirt, you know, with the amount of interest that he's going to garner in the summer transfer window. And to be honest, I think that now with Huddersfield mathematically safe, I see Reading putting a few goals past them in this game, to be honest with you. Huddersfield, at the best of times, can still be pretty leaky at the back, can't they? So for a score prediction, I'm going to go 2-0 Reading in this game. Thief is going 1-0 Reading. And then to wrap things off, we got Watford going up against Swansea. Obviously, Watford guaranteed to have that second place finish. 56 of their points this season have come at home. Absolutely staggering stuff. Only 2 losses at home all season. So they'll want to go out on a high at Vicarage Road. Swansea obviously still playing for that playoff finish and to finish as high up in the table as possible. Technically, Bournemouth and Barnsley still can catch them, although it's very unlikely that Swansea are going to finish in 6th place now. They'd need Barnsley to win, Swansea would lead to lose, and there'd need to be an 11-goal swing on the final day of the season, with Swansea, you know, having that superior goal difference. Like we sort of mentioned before, it looks more than likely at this point in time that the playoff semi-finals will be between Brentford and Barnsley and Swansea and Bournemouth, if my predictions this weekend are sort of to be spot on, as it were. But obviously anything in the Championship can change on the final day. But nevertheless, those would be two quite intriguing playoff semi-finals. For a score prediction in this one, I think that both sides will probably make changes, to be honest with you. Swansea probably a little bit more so, as they're keen to rest quite a few players. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Watford win in this game. FIFA's going to go for a 1-1 draw. But guys, there we have it. Those are my Championship score predictions for the final weekend of the season. If all of them are correct, that will mean that Wycombe, Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham will be relegated, with Derby surviving by the skin of their teeth. I want to get your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Leave your score predictions. Who do you think is going to be surviving on the final day? As always, if you did go to enjoy, make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe for a bit of regular Championship content as well. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.